Before the first shadow ever touched creation, there was only light, not the light of stars or suns, but a living radiance, endless, flawless, eternal. Within that brilliance sang every angelic soul, united in a single song of praise, a river of devotion flowing back into the heart of the Creator. But among those countless rays, one shone brighter than all the rest, a being of such unimaginable beauty and wisdom that even the strongest bowed before him. His name was Lucifer. Welcome to Inner Fire Wisdom, where we uncover the hidden stories of the soul, the mysteries of heaven, and the lessons they carry for us today. Stay with me, because the story of Lucifer is not just about an angel's fall. It is a mirror held up to every one of us, revealing how light itself can be tested and how freedom, the greatest gift, can also be the most dangerous. In a vision, I saw Lucifer as the crown of creation. The scripture whispered, "You were the seal of perfection, full of wisdom, perfect in beauty." And indeed, he was. He walked like flame that never dimmed, his voice leading the choirs of heaven in harmonies that blazed like 10,000 sparks joining into an ocean of light. Even Michael, the great warrior, bowed to his wisdom. To the angels, Lucifer was not only a leader, he was the very rhythm of heaven's devotion, the breath that carried their praise, and God rejoiced in him. Like an artist gazing at his first masterpiece, the Creator took delight in this radiant soul. All of heaven danced in the joy of that perfection. But within the brilliance of every light lies the possibility of a shadow. For freedom, the gift given to every soul, makes love possible, but also rebellion. Lucifer's fall did not begin with war, or defiance, or rage. It began with something so small you could almost miss it, a thought, a whisper in the mind. What if this light could be mine? What if I did not need to reflect, but could shine on my own? At first, it was only curiosity, not hatred, not evil, just a question. Yet a single crack, invisible at first, was enough to reshape eternity. For wisdom, when turned inward, becomes pride. Beauty, when adored too much, becomes vanity. And power, when severed from gratitude, becomes hunger. Lucifer still sang. He still led the choirs. But in his eyes flickered a restlessness. One angel even asked, "Do you not rejoice as before?" To which Lucifer only smiled, speaking words that puzzled more than they explained. It was not rebellion yet. It was a flame, not of devotion, but of self, the urge to climb higher, even beyond the source who gave him everything. And in that moment, I understood. The first crack of downfall never comes from outside. It begins within. A single spark of pride, if nurtured, is enough to turn heaven into a prison. When that shadow was still small, God came to him, not with wrath, but with mercy. Like a river through stone, the voice of the Creator flowed, "Child of light, I know the thoughts within you. Remember, the glory you bear is my reflection, not your own. Apart from me, it fades." Heaven fell silent. Every angel listened. Lucifer bowed his head, yet in his eyes there was a flicker, a strange gleam. And he replied, "Father, was it not you who gave me wisdom? Was it not you who filled me with light? Then how can the desire to explore its depths be wrong?" It was not open defiance, but hidden in the tone was a seed of unease, a shadow within the words. That was the moment the universe trembled, not from violence, but from a thought that would one day divide heaven itself. And this is where Lucifer's story becomes our story. For every time we take our gifts, our beauty, our wisdom, and forget the source, we walk the same path. Once radiant with purity, Lucifer stood before the Creator, and God's voice flowed toward him with boundless compassion. Child of light, the thirst for wisdom is good, but you have turned it inward, upon yourself, instead of back toward the source. Remember, the brilliance within you is my gift, not a spring of its own. Forget this, and that very light will become a fire that consumes your soul. I saw the hand of God stretched toward Lucifer, not the hand of a judge, but of a grieving father reaching for his beloved child. That single moment could have changed everything. The story might have ended in redemption, but Lucifer did not take the hand. He bowed just enough to appear reverent, yet in the silence of his heart, the distance grew wider. Still, God's mercy lingered. Day after day his voice returned, gentle as a river, insistent as breath. My child, come back. Do not let shadow veil the light. If you return, your brilliance will burn brighter. But if you turn away, it will become the abyss that swallows you. These were not threats. They were promises of love. And yet within Lucifer, pride formed a wall, a stone in God's presence, yet turned inward. And I understood. Mercy does not always heal. Sometimes, when refused, it becomes a deeper wound. Then came the day that shook heaven. I saw the skies blaze with 1,000 suns as God summoned all the angels together. His voice thundered with majesty. I will create a new universe. Stars will move in order. Planets will shine. And on one small world called Earth, I will breathe life into mankind, body and soul, made in my image. The heavens erupted in praise. The angels bowed, their voices lifting in thunderous joy. For this material creation was to become a mirror of infinite wisdom and love. But God was not finished. His next words split eternity open. My Son, the eternal Word, will take on flesh. He will become man. His name shall be Jesus. And through him, all creation will bow in worship. Heaven trembled, not from fear, but awe. To see the Eternal clothe himself in fragile flesh was a mystery beyond all understanding, a love so vast it brought angels to tears. For humility had never been displayed so greatly, divinity lowering itself to lift what was small. But in Lucifer's heart, awe turned to unrest. His eyes grew cold. His thoughts sharpened like blades. Why not me? Why should I, the one created perfect, not be chosen for this sacred union? Why should clay, fragile, fleeting flesh, become the throne of glory? What others saw as breathtaking humility, Lucifer saw as insult. God spoke further, mankind will be weak. They will fall, and I will carry their sins upon the cross. The angels bowed in wonder, their hymns rising higher than ever. But Lucifer recoiled. To him, the cross was not glory, it was humiliation. To kneel before man, to honor a God who would lower himself into mortal form, was unthinkable. And from that proud heart, a terrible thought burst forth. If he can lower himself, then why should I not raise myself to his place? The silence grew heavy. Heaven trembled as admiration curdled into bitterness. Lucifer's hidden flame erupted. He spoke aloud for the first time, not with harmony, but defiance. A single word, short and sharp, split the music of heaven. No. Its echo struck like thunder. Never before had a soul dared to answer the Creator with denial. God's gaze rested on him, still full of mercy, but Lucifer felt no love, only disdain. Again he thundered, no. This time it was not hesitation. It was a decree, a cold proclamation of rebellion. Lucifer turned to the multitude, his voice like a king calling his court. Do you not see? What is demanded of us is humiliation. We are light. Why must we bow to weak flesh? Why must our radiance be placed beneath mankind? His tone was not rage, but persuasion, reason wrapped in pride. And I saw it, the cold wind of his words passing through the hearts of angels, planting seeds of doubt. Some wavered, caught by his reasoning. Others remained silent in confusion. For the first time, harmony trembled. And still, Michael stood watching, his eyes burning with resolve, waiting for the moment to answer. But not all of heaven stood in silence. A third of the hosts leaned toward Lucifer, not because they longed for darkness, but because his words gave voice to a temptation they had quietly harbored. For the first time, freedom revealed its sharp edge. No angel was forced. Each had to choose, either to bow in humility before the source or to rise in pride beside the one who questioned it. Lucifer stood tall, like a blazing tower, convinced that he spoke for justice. Yet beneath his brilliance lay the seed of rebellion. His no was more than defiance. It was the first fracture in eternity, the refusal of divine incarnation, the birth cry of division, the thunder that split heaven itself. When his call to rebellion spread, heaven fell under a suffocating silence, as if the entire cosmos waited for a reply. His arguments were woven with reason, alluring enough to stir doubt in hearts that had never known hesitation. Was God's plan the only way? Could there be another path? And then it came. A voice rang out, not from the loftiest throne, not from the most radiant of seraphim, but from Michael, the humble warrior whose light was steady, not dazzling. His words were not wrapped in philosophy, but carried the force of truth itself. Who is like God? Just one question, yet it cut through the fog of doubt, like a sword through shadow. Those who wavered remembered their origin, that their light was not their own, but a reflection of the eternal. Michael did not try to argue. He did not meet rhetoric with rhetoric. His cry shattered every illusion with a single truth. None could rival the Creator, not even the brightest of angels. Lucifer faltered, his arrogance cracked, and I felt fury rising in him, for Michael had struck the heart of his pride. His glory was trembling, shaken not by strength, but by faithfulness. Michael stepped forward, small in form, but unshaken in spirit, his eyes steady, his voice calm. You have let your light become darkness. You exalt yourself above the very source, and that is blindness. These words pierced Lucifer's soul like fire. Shame twisted within him, but he clothed it in rage. And from that rage, rebellion burned hotter. The hosts who had hesitated suddenly remembered the nature of love. They recalled that God's call was never to humiliation, but to humility. Not to enslave, but to awaken. Michael's cry echoed again and again. Who is like God? It spread like fire across heaven, reigniting loyalty, rekindling the flame of truth. That question became a banner, not a weapon of war, but a reminder. All light flows from one source. Lucifer trembled, his wings of fire shook. For the first time, he stood before a power greater than brilliance, humility. The line was drawn. On one side, pride, which leads to the fall. On the other, loyalty, which leads to light. Heaven erupted. Armies formed. 1/3 turned their backs. 2/3 remained faithful. What had once been a hymn of praise transformed into the roar of battle. Stars themselves seemed to shatter as angels clashed. Lucifer stood at the head of the rebels, his radiance now a dark flame. He declared himself the true light, crying that no angel need bow again. Opposite him stood Michael, smaller, quieter, but ablaze with a sword, forged not from his own brilliance, but from absolute trust in the Creator. And heaven shook. Brothers became enemies. Angels who had sung together now struck one another with tears in their eyes. For this was no war of flesh and blood, but of will and essence, pride against humility, deception against love. Lucifer's voice thundered across the battlefield. God is unjust. Glory belongs to those who choose their own fate. But Michael did not waste words. Again and again, his cry rang out, "Who is like God?" Each time he spoke, the faithful grew brighter, shielded by a strength not their own. The war dragged on, not to measure force, but to reveal truth. With every clash, Lucifer's light decayed, twisting into black fire, while Michael's radiance became ever clearer, a perfect reflection of the source. Finally, the two faced one another, Lucifer, the dark star, Michael, the humble flame. Lucifer shouted, "I am the first star, the chosen, the true light." But his voice was hollow, echoing like emptiness in a void. Michael lifted his sword and spoke with calm conviction. "You are no longer light. You are only the shadow of your pride." Those words pierced deeper than any blade. Lucifer charged with all his might, but his strength collapsed under the undeniable truth. No one can rise above the source of light. The rebels fell, crashing like stars torn from the heavens, 1/3 of the hosts swallowed by the abyss. Heaven trembled with thunder and tears, yet amid the smoke and ruin, the faithful stood shining with a flame no darkness could extinguish. And so the war of light and shadow ended, not with annihilation, but with revelation. Pride had been cast down. Love had proven stronger. Lucifer, once the morning star, lay broken, his pride reduced to ashes, his gaze still burning with hatred. He saw his fall not as defeat, but as theft. That glory had been stolen from him, and heaven was silent. Michael and the faithful angels bowed, not in triumph, not in the pride of victory, but in sorrow. Their wings trembled with grief, for those who had once been their brothers now lay scattered in rebellion. I felt the wound in heaven itself, a scar that would never fade, a silence that carried both relief and mourning. In the vision, I saw the depths where Lucifer and his host had fallen. It was not yet the final hell, but a realm of shadows, a grey and restless abyss severed from the source of light. There was no peace there, no harmony, only the echo of loss. Where songs had once risen, now only cries remained. And there, amid the ruin, Lucifer rose in defiance, his face no longer radiant, but burning with twisted fire. I heard his vow, "If I cannot reign in the light, then I will rule in darkness. If I cannot share in the glory of God, then I will destroy what he loves most." From that vow, hatred became his mission. Humanity, the promised new creation, became his target. I heard his roar across the abyss. "I will steal the love you have for mankind. I will plant doubt in their hearts. I will twist their freedom into chains. And when they fall, I will laugh upon the ashes of your creation." The abyss became the dwelling of the fallen ones. Their light turned into black fire, their beauty corrupted, their strength perverted into weapons against truth. Yet even as they sank, I saw that God's love did not vanish. His love remains eternal, but those who had chosen pride could no longer receive it. I felt a mournful echo in that realm, for no soul is born to fall. Yet when freedom turns into pride, light becomes a prison. And so the history of darkness began, not only as separation, but as defiance, as a deliberate choice to become the enemy of love itself. Lucifer, cast out, did not treat his fall as an ending. In the abyss, he swore that if he could not seize the light, he would corrupt the work of God. That vow became his fuel, his power, his mission. And so he turned his gaze toward mankind, the creature made in the very image of God. This, more than anything, enraged him, for God himself would humble his divinity to take on flesh, raising humanity higher than angels. Lucifer could not bear it. His hatred sharpened, his desire to twist human freedom into a snare, to turn holy longing into temptation, to corrode faith into doubt. In Eden, he did not come with thunder or war. He came as a whisper, a question more dangerous than any sword. Do you truly believe God has kept nothing from you? You will not die. You will become like him. I saw Eve pause. The seed of doubt was planted, and from that seed grew the first rebellion of mankind. This is how Lucifer works, not with brute force, but by erosion, by corroding truth from within, by sowing questions that unravel faith until the soul deceives itself. After Eden, he did not stop. In Job's trial, he tried to prove that faith is only a bargain, that man loves God only when blessed. But Job stood firm, proving that true faith survives even in ashes. In the wilderness, he confronted Jesus himself. He unveiled his deepest desire, not just to tempt mankind, but to be worshipped in place of God. He offered power, glory, shortcuts. Bow to me, and I will give you the world. But Jesus answered with truth. You shall worship the Lord, your God, and him alone. And in that refusal, Lucifer's nature was fully revealed. He was not merely a deceiver, but an idol for his own pride. I saw clearly that Lucifer's mission never changes. His strategy is always the same: to twist freedom, to enslave souls with desire, to make humanity forget their true origin. He whispers ambition, fuels pride, distorts longing, and step by step leads souls into chains of their own making. But I also saw the greater truth. His power is always limited. Darkness is temporary. Even in the deepest shadow, a single spark of faith is enough to open the way home. The story of Lucifer is not just a tale of the past. It is a mirror for every soul today. Every detail of his rebellion echoes in our choices. When I saw Lucifer gaze upon his own brilliance and forget its source, I recognized us. For every time we believe that what we have is ours alone, every time we forget that our gifts are grace, the same shadow begins to stir. And yet, I saw mercy. God did not desire his fall. Again and again he offered return, even to Lucifer, just as he still offers return to us. For love never runs dry. As long as humility remains, the way back is open. But here is the heart of it. Freedom is the greatest gift, and because of it, the soul can choose light or shadow. No angel was forced. No human is compelled. Every choice bends the soul toward heaven or toward the abyss. When Lucifer fell, heaven trembled, for even in perfection, freedom could be twisted, and his rebellion continues today, not in swords and fire, but in whispers that echo in the human heart. Every time we exalt ourselves, every time we turn grace into pride, we retrace his steps. But every time we choose humility, every time we choose love, we stand again with Michael and cry, "Who is like God?" The lesson of Lucifer is not only a warning, it is a hope. For if pride can drag down the highest angel, then love can raise the lowest soul. If darkness can cover the heavens, then a single ray of light can pierce it. In the end, I saw Lucifer cast into the lake of fire, not as punishment of rage, but as the unavoidable result of his choice. Darkness cannot remain forever beside light. Pride cannot endure forever beside love. And in that final vision, I heard the eternal truth. Good will overcome evil, not because good is stronger in battle, but because good is the essence of the universe, the very life of God. Evil is only a passing shadow. The vision closed, but its echo remained in me. Every day, every soul is rewriting that ancient battle. The war of heaven is fought again in the secret chambers of our hearts. The choice is not once for all. It is renewed in every thought, every act, every breath. I understood at last. The lesson of Lucifer is both a warning and a promise. Pride destroys, but love restores. Shadows fall, but light endures. And so the call to every soul is this: remember the source, choose humility, choose love. For in that choice, we do not only survive the shadow, we shine. And so the story of light and shadow is not only about angels or ancient battles, it is about you, right now. Every choice you make tilts the scale within your soul. Remember, pride can break, but love always heals. Darkness may whisper, but even the smallest flame of truth can outshine it forever. Before you leave, let me ask you, did this message stir something in you? If it did, don't let it end here. Subscribe to Inner Fire Wisdom so you never miss these journeys into the mysteries of spirit and soul. Like this video to let the light spread further. Share it with someone who needs a reminder that even in their darkest hour, hope is alive. And I want to hear from you. Comment below. What part of Lucifer's story spoke to you the most, and why? I'll be reading your words, because this channel is more than a place to watch. It's a place to awaken together. Bonus quote: evil is not eternal. It passes like a shadow. But love is the fire that burns without end. Until next time, may your path be guided by light. May your choices be rooted in love, and may your soul never forget the source. This is Inner Fire Wisdom, where the eternal speaks to the present. Peace, love, and light to you always.